you know, I've had over 100+ years of retail management and lots of online stores as well. But this is my first and hopefully last experience with pandemics. So it has been crazy to kind of navigate this personally for our business, as well as, you know, within the city. Everyone's kind of trying to keep up. I know we covered this a little bit, but I want to be sure to ask questions in the question and answer portal in Zoom. After every slide, we're going to have an opportunity for some questions. Aaron, who also works with Main Street, if you can wave there, he's going to help moderate those to keep everything going smoothly. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. I want to kind of just give a quick overview of the webinar today. So the first thing is it starts with you, right? We're going to kind of talk a little bit about changing our mindset within this new reality and the new competition, as well as kind of the new limitations that we all have within our business and how we kind of can move from there. The second thing that we're going to talk about is how can your customers get the goods? Previously, it's really simple. People come indoors, you sell it. Now we kind of have to really think through a little bit on how we can deliver goods and services to customers. Third is like, what platforms should we sell on? And thinking through what your capabilities, your limitations are, and what makes sense for your business. Fourth is making sure that you're selling smooth and easy, right? So we all have like hangups and things that don't go smooth for the customers, and we really have to kind of rethink how we make that process of selling to customers as smooth and simple as possible. And last, we're going to talk a little bit about how to get out the word about the new services, the new products, the new ways of selling that you're providing, right? So does anybody have any questions on that before I go on? All right, sounds great. All right, the first thing that I want to talk about is your mentality. So it starts with you. You're the leader of your business, and people kind of fall back on to you, and they're going to be looking to you for leadership. Think back to when you started your business. You had rekindle that startup kind of mentality. You'll need that same drive to kind of recreate your business on a virtual setting, and along with kind of that startup energy and drive. Be relentless, continue to innovate, and realize that not everything that you start is going to succeed right away, but that's okay. It's all about learning and getting better and continually getting closer to success. So the next thing that I would like you to think about is adjust to new hours for your customers, right? We've all had set hours, and you know, if you're thinking about selling on, you know, through phone, through, you know, social media, you're going to have to be more available to your customers around the clock, right? So set a time frame and window that balances what the customer needs with your ability to keep up. These hours will definitely look different than what your current store hours. You can't expect to continue to sell on a digital landscape or a virtual landscape with the same kind of in-store hours. The next thing is customer service has changed, and so have customer expectations. So what worked for in-store, or what good service, good customer service in an in-store transaction is different than like a virtual transaction. So you'll need to follow up with your customers very promptly. Sometimes, you know, there's an expectation that it's instantly or within minutes, and you'll have probably already encountered this. And you'll have to communicate with very clear, concise communications. It's important to set realistic expectations with your customers and then exceed them, right? So that's always really an important thing. And again, you'll kind of see a pattern on this. Everything starts from the customer's perspective first, and then, you know, then we kind of like figure out what we can do to accommodate them. So the next is kind of think about your customer profiles. You should already have kind of an idea of your ideal customer profile and what that looks like. And but you need to go back and update that based on the current circumstances. And for this exercise, set aside kind of your fears, your current inventory that you feel like might be kind of, over your head, current practices. Start by making a list of what your current customers might be interested in purchasing from you at this time, right? And it's going to be hard. That's a hard thing to do, is because we're asking of ourselves to kind of step back from our business, our lifeblood, and then think about what things people really are going to be wanting from us. And then move on to what you might offer potential customers that might be a little bit different. So think, repackaging some of your products into new gift packs or different gift boxes. All right, and then reach your customers where they are. Don't make it hard on them. All right, well, we'll dive a little bit deeper into this, but make sure to meet your customers where they are. You can still use postcards and snail mail to make personal connections with customers. This actually might be preferable to an online presence for some of your older customers and demographics. But I will say the caveat is you'd be surprised how many of people have Facebook or some sort of connection and digital presence. And I guarantee you that this experience that we're all collectively going through is pushing more people to learn and be online. Adjust what you offer where you can, but stay true to your brand identity, right? We've always been in the shoppertainment industry, right? It's different than just selling goods. We've been creating experiences for customers in our stores. Adjust what you can offer. Consider, like, I said, gift packs or gift boxes, sample packs. Subscriptions is a huge thing. Think about virtual experiences. Can you add new products to match your customers' new tastes? Some of y'all have been doing some of these things, and it's been really cool to see. And lastly, stay positive, right? This is huge. And then lose any entitlement, right? Sometimes it's really easy to think about, and I do this myself. I'm like, I'm a small business. I deserve this. I deserve, the customers. Why aren't I getting more of this? But earn each customer, right? Earn their loyalty with every single interaction. It's really important. Right now, we're not entitled to their support, and we got to earn it with really good customer service and good experiences. Customers need an escape, and retail has been that escape for a long time, and it really will continue to be. And people kind of use shopping for feelings of control, and we'll continue to meet that need. So that's not going anywhere, but definitely stay positive. That's a really important thing. And before I go on, any questions?
More of a comment from Kathy with an example that describes what you've mentioned in your slide, and it's about Carpe Diem Comics in downtown McKinney, and she was searching for puzzles at big box stores, and she ended up seeing their post about their inventory of puzzles, and she was able to patronize their business because of that post. So
awesome, great. That's a great way to. That's a great example. All right. So how can customers get the goods, right? Sounds very simple, but make a plan on your fulfillment options and what you're kind of willing and able to do. Your abilities are going to dictate how and where you sell, right? We have a huge missed opportunity. Obviously, people can't come into our stores anymore, but now we got to think about what other channels that we can work on. And make sure that you don't offer something you can't or won't be able to maintain, right? Free local delivery is huge. That's something that we're offering in our store. But if you sell something like coffee or food, right, and you get a lunch rush, right, do you have the staff to be able to fulfill that, right? So think about, and that's just one example, but think about the things that you're offering, and are they sustainable? Can you keep it up? If you tend to get orders all in one shot, can you keep up with that? Curbside pickup, right? This is a great option. It's kind of a lifeline for restaurants right now, but be sure to observe the social distancing recommendations, and think through it. It can get really awkward really fast. People are scared, and they are, sometimes nervous about how the process goes. You need to create rules and expectations to keep everyone safe. And more importantly, well, I guess keeping everyone safe is the most important thing, but you need to reassure the customers to make them feel at ease. I personally had some experiences taking to-go orders from some local restaurants, and it can be very tricky. And I saw many times there were certain procedures that I couldn't just give my phone or my credit card over the phone and then have them delivered just to me and have limited to one interaction. I had to do like 3 interactions. And so is that necessary? Think back and step aside and think about what can I minimize to make it as smooth and seamless as possible. And we're kind of talk a little bit about that. The next thing is private shopping. We might not be able to offer this now. And, all these things there's caveats, there's changes going on rapidly right now. But as we all kind of get back to reopening, it might not be as cut and dry when we go through that. And so private shopping might be a really good option where you have customers come in one at a time, and it's really safe and easy. Local delivery, consider cutting down on your shipping costs by delivering local, right? Think about custom curated boxes for local customers with no strings attached. Think about Stitch Fix. Has anybody used that here? But think about creating a box where you can give to customers and let them try on the clothes that they want, and whatever they do want, you can send an invoice, and whatever they don't want, you can pick back up. If you do shipping, determine the shipping service and pricing up front before your orders start coming. And I'll deep dive into this when we talk about the website as well. Don't overpay or waste time buying postage in person at the post office. So that's something that can really drag you down and take a lot of time out of your day. So digital fulfillment for virtual experiences. This is kind of an area that you can use your creativity. Think outside the box. One of the things I saw that was really neat, jump into art. Here, right off the square, they have these jump into art boxes. She's fulfilling a need, a desire for kids to do something. Other retailers have been selling virtual lessons and events. Consider also giving some services and experiences away for free, especially if you can highlight your items to the forefront of those activities, right? So if you can do a styling video and incorporate your, some amazing scarves that you wear and show all the different ways to tie it, obviously that should be something that should probably be free, but what you're doing is you're highlighting kind of one of your products. Virtual events can also provide the entertainment for people these days. I mean, they're looking for something to see, and they're looking for that human connection as well. A neat idea I saw, if you sell furniture or home goods, consider helping people redesign their interior spaces remotely, and then offer the products that you sell during that experience. And remember, the goal is always to build engagement and increase customer interactions, and this will make you a stronger brand at the end of all this, right? So let's take a pause, and maybe Aaron, are there any questions or comments for this kind of?
Yep, not on this section.
Okay, great. But do please go ahead and write them down. We're going to kind of move on to platforms and kind of thinking through what platforms make sense for your business. I would want to start this off by saying, what methods and platforms do your customers prefer to finalize the sale? And then when I think about for my shop, I would love if everyone just left me alone and bought everything on my website from 9 to 5 so that I can fulfill it once a day and go into the office that way. But that's not realistic, right? So we need to kind of adjust our preferences and desires to what our customers are demanding and seeking from us at this point. If you're going to do phone or text selling, I think is a great opportunity. We've had to adapt from previously kind of not answering phone calls to being available during kind of all the time. Are you willing to let your customers call and text your personal cell? This is a huge one. I don't like that. So what we did is we had a shift to using a service called Google Voice, or VoIP for that. It gives you a lot of flexibility to be available, but also not have your personal cell phone out there. Email. Are you set up to allow customers to email you directly? On your website, do you require a contact us form? Is that kind of the only way? And then how often do you check your email? During this time, I would personally recommend at least once an hour, so you don't lose sales. Customers are notoriously fickle, and even if they're trying to support you, you want to make it as easy as possible for them. Selling on social media platforms, right? Do you know how to use the Messenger and Instagram, the Messenger app kind of on Instagram and Facebook? Have you set up auto respond options, right? When you're thinking about possibly adding new social media platforms for selling, add one at a time and don't try to do too much and drop the ball with a customer. Remember, ignoring a customer is a great way to lose a customer. So on your website, some of you think you might not be able to sell through a website, but I've seen really creative solutions for stores that sell one-of-a-kind items that traditionally don't work super well on a websites that have had real success. So use your creativity and think about options. I think everybody kind of needs a website right now. It is important that you have a virtual storefront, and that's all your website really is. Note that if you don't currently have a website, it will take some time to get up and running to receive your first sales. So, and we'll kind of deep dive into some tips and tricks for that. Consider, Amazon, Etsy, those sorts of things might be good for you depending on what you're selling. So, and then lastly, another channel or platform would be kind of paid ads. I've done we've had some real successes with that and some real failures. So there's definitely some, things to look out for. Be very careful signing up for any or outsourcing any of those paid AdWords before you sign the dotted line. Make sure it's a really reputable company. So any questions on this slide real fast?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. All right. So make your selling smooth. So these are kind of some tips on how to reduce the friction and pain points for a phone, Facebook, or Instagram order, right? Customers really want to finish their transactions in one seamless step, right? Help customers finish their transaction in the communication method that they started. For example, if they text you, you want to finish the whole transaction by text. Don't make them call you with a credit card number or anything like that. And if they call, and vice versa, if they call, don't make them sign into their email to pay an invoice, right? So that's a really important consideration. I kind of touched a little bit about this, but use Google Voice. Consider, Google Voice so that when they text you or you call a customer back, it has your name of the business and it's not your personal cell phone, right? Everyone's got a ton of spam calls and they're used to ignoring numbers that they don't recognize. It's a great resource for tracking and managing incoming calls, and you can share it with your staff and other multiple people, and they can all download the app and have it on their phone. For many customers, remember, calling is the last resort and could signify that they were frustrated with your website or other sales channel. Be sure to be very careful when people call. ask them if they checked out the website and if they had any issues. Be proactive in that, and that will help cut down, because really it's going to be a very small percentage of customers that find a problem and then continue and call you directly. Do you know how to process credit cards over the phone remotely through Square or some other mobile platform? You got to remove the requirement that you are physically present in your store to process an order right now. If you sign up for an app like Square, you can do this anywhere in your house. You can do it in your living room. It's a really important tool right now to be able to finalize a customer sale as soon as possible. With that, kind of use invoicing effectively so that customers can finalize their sale through text or email. So you can send your customers a link to basically finalize their sale immediately within their email or their text or their phone. And then lastly, you have all these different orders coming in through, phone, text, social media websites. How do you keep it all together and organized, right? So you got to record everything through your point of sale to make sure, A, their inventory is accurate, and then keep a log in Excel or Google Drive to make sure that even potential customers are being taken care of. If you get to a certain point, this is where software like this CMR or customer relationship management software could really be helpful. But most of us, I think, are not at that point. So do we have a question, it looks like?
You actually answered the question as
Okay.
you continued on. Yep.
All right, great. Awesome. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna dive a little deeper on is their website. And this has to be its own slide because there's so much. And to be honest, I could probably spend hours on this one topic alone. But pick a website platform that you can realistically maintain at your level of expertise. I am not a web designer, but there are platforms that have worked for me where I don't really have to have coding experience. Remember, now is not the time to probably hire your second cousin twice removed to create that custom website for you from the ground up. It would probably be better to work with professionals or use proven platforms, and that will reduce your risk and reduce errors. This is what they're experts at. So I've used quite a number of different websites over the years. Weebly is a common one that's connected with Square, Squarespace, Shopify. A lot of them have similar features, but a lot of them have maybe some integrations and features that might be best for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help, but remember to avoid common scams and pitfalls. So make sure that you're reaching out to legitimate websites and don't give access to the back end of your website to just anybody on the internet. But it's amazing how common that does happen. When you look at your structure of your website, look at other online retailers and copy their layout. Don't try to reinvent the wheel of forcing customers into certain sections of your website. Look to them for help in building your site architecture and your layout and design. Prioritize hot sellers, right? Right now, we're kind of up against the clock, so you need to prioritize what goes online first based on what customers are interested in now. For instance, you might want to pause on maybe some big bulky home decor items in exchange for items and boxes that people can pamper themselves with. So think consumables. So next, good photography is a must. So it's really kind of your virtual merchandising, right? Make sure your photography looks professional and clean. Definitely invest in a light box. They're not very expensive. And definitely reach out to your vendors. If they have images that are already professional, don't waste time taking photos yourself. I mean, you can definitely, with their permission, use them, but you're selling their goods. So a lot of times they'll be more than happy to allow you to do that. Shipping, Unfortunately, the goal should be to ship within the same day that customers order, or next day if they order at night. I highly encourage you to consider shipping apps like ShipStation or Shippo that automatically integrate with your website. Definitely rethink your pricing of those items to keep shipping in mind. And flat rate shipping options from the U.S. Postal Service are huge. It really kind of cuts down on some of the options, or the being overwhelmed with too many options for shipping. And they can be very affordable. Experiment with box sizes and weights, as well as kind of shipping choices. Some important integrations to consider, and I go through this as a checklist. As a side note, all this stuff, all my notes, we're going to be sharing out with everybody who came to the event, or to the webinar. So for integrations, definitely social media, MailChimp, or Constant Contact. Consider remarketing options. Those are things like AdRoll that can track people wherever they go. You've probably seen this, where you visit a website and that follows you all around. Abandoned cart recovery options, this is huge. And then possibly, if you can swing it, any integrations with your current POS system. SEO, when you think about, in the physical world, your foot traffic is really important to the value of your physical space, right? In the digital realm, that public sidewalk is the search bar in Google. So you need to make sure that when you build out your website, you take into account that you're accurately putting in keywords and creating content that the search engines can find. And then lastly, make returns easy. This is a lot of people get scared of actually pressing the buy button because they're worried they're going to be stuck with something, especially online, right? If you're shopping for clothing, for home decor items, and you're not 100% sure that the colors are going to work with your space, definitely take some fear out of the equation and allow customers to make easy returns. So I have a lot more on this subject, but do we have any questions or comments on there? Feel free to chime in. All right, we're good. So the next is we're going to get out the word, right? So marketing your new buying options. Be sure to communicate all the ways people can support you. Remember, it's okay and important to sell right now, right? So take your marketing up a notch and let everyone know that you're still open for business. Start now, building your customer base if you haven't already. Definitely rely on your friends, your family, your core customers. Now's the time that you can leverage their help. Don't be prideful. Remember, go back to that kind of startup mentality and see if they can help you get out the word that you're still here. Phone and text, make sure that everyone reads their text. That's a great way to reach people and get in touch with everyone. Again, I said this earlier, but make sure your phone number looks legit and your business name is registered to your number. It's a great way to reach your older customers who maybe prefer phone calls. Give them a text or call and just see how they're doing. You want to make sure that you end by letting them know that you're available if they need anything. Be sure to offer something other than a sell. We do this at the store, right? The first thing that, somebody comes in, I can't ask, oh, can I help you with anything? Or would you like to buy this? I have to build a relationship with the customer, right? And then make it appropriate. It's kind of like going on a date and saying, all right, before we get started, I just want to make sure there's a kiss at the end of this, right? It's not really an appropriate way. You got to build the relationship before you kind of head to a question on selling. Utilize your emails. Definitely, you should have short emails, rich and relevant contact. Make sure to send them out at least weekly. If you're not using something like Constant Contact or MailChimp for professional looking emails, I would highly recommend it. They have a lot of free options. And then again, integrate your emails with your website. Great content should drive people to your website right now. Give away free content. You know, this is huge right now. How-to guides, you know, the value of giving away DIY crafts or some of content for free is that they'll be shared and they'll cement a relationship with the customers. And again, it's even better if you can tie in your current product offerings into that. It would be huge. Snail mail. I think that snail mail is kind of something that we could all be using a lot more effectively. These stand out in a cluttered marketing environment. A personal note saying thinking of you, thanking customers for their support will go a long way right now in standing out, considering all the other things that customers are getting bombarded with right now. Paid advertising. Competition is fierce, right? And so a lot of people are vying for the same eyes. But if you already have kind of proven paid advertising techniques and channels that have worked for you, don't let up. Right now is the time to kind of, if you can afford it and if your cash flow is there, go ahead and keep investing in that. And lastly, on social media, show your personality, right? Reach out to your customers on a daily, at least daily basis. Make sure it's consistent with your brand, and don't be discouraged when some posts fall flat, right? Learn and adapt, and look at your old posts and see what people have to mine for content that people really want right now. I have basically like a list of 20 or so items right now of social media ideas. These would, and we'll include these at the end of the presentation. But before I go on to the next slide, are there any questions, comments? Good. All right. So keep working now so that you can hit the ground running when you have your kind of, so that you can constantly get back to business right away. Even if you're closed to walk-in traffic, you want to let customers know that, you're front in their minds, and they should have you front in theirs as well. Now is the time to stay engaged with your customers. Don't be doom and gloom, right? Say thank you, be appreciative, be positive. I kind of mentioned this earlier, and we'll kind of get you started on a list, but create a list of topics and rotate through your list. Keep your content fresh, make it personal and consistent with your brand. Don't overthink it. And this is really important. Don't let it dominate all the other things that you have to do, right? Social media is one part of your marketing strategy, right? All right. And any questions on that? Lastly, we'll just kind of, I want you to encourage y'all to keep it up. Y'all can do this, and you can lead your team through. Focus on what products and services help people, especially now. Again, stay positive. These tough times won't last, and don't last. Tough people do. So that's a really great quote. I really like that. Step forward, not back, right? This is the opportunity to grow and figure out new ways of selling. And lastly, we're going to have some more webinars that kind of deep dive into different topics throughout this presentation, throughout the upcoming weeks. And lastly, I want to kind of share, hand it over to Aaron, and he'll kind of explain some other resources that are available for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. And if y'all have any questions that come to mind in the meantime, feel free to go ahead and send them over while I go over a few of these things. On this slide, we just wanted to take a second to show specifically our people located here in McKinney, and even hyper focused on downtown McKinney, some of the resources that we have put together to help guide us in this time. And these can be found on the City of McKinney's website. The link is above, but it's also easily found if you go to the homepage where it talks about COVID-19 and you click community support. On this page, we have a multitude of things, including funding options that are currently available to small businesses. The two that stand out the most, and if you were on earlier in this webinar, we were talking about it a little bit, are the CARES Act, which from what we understand officially opens tomorrow for small businesses, and then on April 10th for people who are self-employed and different types of businesses like that. But we encourage you to apply quickly for these. From the conversations we're hearing from other professionals, there are approximately 2 million retailers, small business retailers in the United States, and just like we're all in the same boat, and so there will be a lot of people applying, and so the encouragement is that you apply quickly, and if this is something you're interested in looking into. On these links, there are a lot more detailed information about both of those funding options, both the CARES Act and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And you can decide if one or both options is good for your business and move on from there. If you have questions, you can reach out to us. If we don't know the answer, we'll do our very best to figure out the answer for that, as we're all kind of in a learning stage right now, and trying to figure out exactly what some of these things mean. You'll also see some support local links. One of the examples of that is the McKinney Strong campaign. That is a partnership with McKinney Main Street, the Chamber of Commerce, McKinney Community Development Corporation, and Visit McKinney. All of the proceeds that come in from the t-shirt sales will be divvied up and released back into our community through local nonprofits and small businesses. That will be done through a grant process, and we're working on the grant application, and it will be administered by all of those organizations. And so stay tuned for specifics on that as we get it all pulled together. You also will see other community partner links like the McKinney Chamber of Commerce and all of the work that they've done on the back end to list businesses that are currently open and how they are operating. If your business is on there and you need your listing updated as different ordinances have changed, feel free to reach out to them, and they're a great resource to help keep spreading the message of supporting local during this time. We have our social media support information listed on this webpage with a contact form. So if there's a message that you would like us to share about your business that's located in downtown McKinney specifically, because that's what we handle, you can send an email to us, and we would be happy to share that message and get the word out for you. Another great part of the listings are free resources for small businesses. I'm just going to pinpoint one in particular. WhizBang is a retail training group, and we actually were looking at bringing them to speak to us, to our small businesses here in McKinney. They are doing Facebook Lives once, if not twice a day, on all types of topics regarding retail in the COVID-19 era. But they also dig deep into these funding options that are available, like the CARES Act and the SBA loans. So that's a great resource. There's other resources listed there for you. And finally, we also have direct links to our state and federal resources that might be of assistance in this time. So we just wanted to provide that as a resource for our businesses here in downtown McKinney, and a quick way to get to this information, because we know that there's a lot of information coming in and out right now, and we want it to be as easy as possible in that time. So with that being said,
I think we did want to kind of open it up at the end of this if anybody had some comments or other additional questions. And so we'll kind of stick around here in this chat room for a while. I think that y'all have been you know, everyone's kind of pivoting as well during this whole time, and you'll have things to offer other people as well. So, you know, that's something that we're kind of all in this together as a town and as a district, and we, you know, survive together and thrive together. So that's one thing that I would definitely challenge all of y'all to share your best practices, share what works together, and stay positive throughout this thing. And I think we'll all be much stronger businesses as a result of this. And I'm excited to kind of see, hope some of the funding options, that's going to be huge for all of us. But definitely, if y'all have any questions, please reach out here, and we'll stick around and try to answer them. So thank y'all. So Diana asked, are we going to be able to make this as a video? We're going to do our best. So this is kind of our first shot at here. So we're going to try to render this video and see how it goes, and hopefully post it up on the downtown Facebook page. So yeah, thank you, Dana. Thanks, Jim. So Diana asked, for those of y'all who have vendors, can this be used for them too? I think that that's something that we can definitely do. I can definitely probably share out the presentation and kind of the notes with this presentation. That would definitely be good. And Kim said, thank you all, stay safe. So that's definitely. So I hope y'all are all taking good precautions to make sure you can't run your business if you're sick. So, that's first and foremost. But yeah, we'll definitely all upload this. We'll do our best to upload it. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Anyone else? Again, thank you to everyone who's still here. Thank you for listening and chiming in. Definitely reach out again if y'all have any other questions. And I think at this time, we'll go ahead and sign off. And we appreciate y'all, definitely.